welcome back to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co-host, Tracy.
Hi, everyone.
So we have some really good news. I mean, it's been a fabulous week for us and Little State Big Voices podcast. So Tracy, you want to tell them what our first big news is?
Yes, indeed. So Shahida and I, much to our surprise, not that we're not awesome, but we were very, very elated and honored to find out that we have been nominated for an award, a podcast award, and it's the Spoken Word Award through Motif magazine.
And I love Motif and I read it regularly and did not know that they were, well, no, I did. I did see in the last, I think I did see in the last paper that they did say something about having these, awards that they do every single year about pretty much so the best of the best in Rhode Island. So whoever nominated us, wow. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that because we know people are listening, but we don't always hear everything. We don't always hear the feedback and, we're grateful. That's the main thing. And now I know what it means when people say it's an honor to be nominated. I understand that now.
It's very true. And
we're going to win, but it's an honor to be nominated.
It is an honor. And for that, I'm just going to do this. Cheering for ourselves.
I love it. I love it. And if you all want to help us get to the finish line, it's as simple as going to our Instagram page, Little State Big Voices. So at Little State Big Voices, all one. And in the bio, there is a link to vote for us. And Motif magazine is pretty well known and distributed around Providence. So this is big. This is a feather in our cap. What means the most to us is our listeners and what they think about us. So if you could go and vote and listen, actually listen to it. And if you think that, we got what it takes, please vote for us. We're number 16 on the ballot.
And again, very honored to be nominated. But then also, again, the other good news is that last night, Tracy and I, we had the honor of participating in a panel produced by the Big Sister Boston organization. And it was called Conversations Among Women of Color in Media, a reflection on the past, present, and future. And it was moderated by Courtney Cole of WBZ TV. She's an anchor and reporter. There were the older, the present, and the newer, which would be us. But there was Sandy Robinson. She's a broadcast pioneer. She actually used to be on WILD radio. So if you are of a certain age, you at one time, that was your life rock. From sun up to sundown, you was listening to WILD.
Literally until sundown, because y'all wouldn't, if you're not young enough or you're not old enough to remember this, when the sun went down, whatever time that was, that is when the radio station turned their signal off. And then you just had to go eat dinner or spend time with your family. We didn't have the 24-hour streaming that you youngins have now, but it was an institution in Boston for sure. Sun up literally to sundown. So funny.
And if you recorded off the radio like many of us did, that's when you would probably listen to your recordings because there was no other good radio station after sundown.
That was the black station in Boston.
KISS came out later and it was a little bit decent, but WILD is a Black history focal point in Boston history.
For sure, an institution. And Sandy Robinson broke down so many barriers being a woman in media. And not only was she was behind the scenes. That's the thing that was really impactful, is that she kind of fell into it and, she ended up being in sales and marketing and she loved that job. And she clearly was great at it.
And it's crazy because I ended up talking to her daughter, who I went to school with in the 7th and 8th grade at Boston Latin Academy. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, she looks so familiar.
That's wild. Boston
And they
is a
always say Boston is
small
small,
world.
small.
It's 2 degrees of separation. I'm
Hmm.
of that school of thought.
So, and the other panelist was the fabulous Courtney Boston. She is the CEO of Her Vision Media and co-founder of WWOC Media Network. So it was a really interesting conversation, and I will be playing some clips from the event. But Tracy and I felt very honored to be there. It was very interesting hearing the pros and cons of being in this industry. I didn't even think of myself as really being in the industry
So
before last night.
what's funny is that we were pegged for this. So we were asked to be a part of this panel. So I just want people to know, listeners to know that Shahida and I, we go in the studio, we do our podcast, and we really have fun with it. Like, this is something that we enjoy and that we bring to you because it brings us joy. It's a passion for us. All the things that are coming to us, these panel opportunities, the awards, like I hadn't really thought that far out, to be honest with you. And when they approached us as women in media, I was like, you know what, podcasting is a media source, and I'm falling into it now. I'm accepting it, and I like it.
Me too. And I, again, like, I wasn't even thinking of it in those terms, but one of the questions that they had last night was about social media, and also about different things, that obstacles that you go through in this business. And I feel like one of the obstacles, and I think that I said, like, we're living in a time where the biggest obstacle for yourself is yourself, because there's so
Mhm.
many different mediums that you could use to create the narrative, the story, the podcast, the TV show, the YouTube show. There's so many different mediums out there that you could take advantage of, that you can do on your own. And that's why when someone says, women of media, I'm not really thinking that I'm in that same mode of conversation, but we are in that mode of conversation because we've taken a medium and we defined a media for ourselves.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're not full on journalists. I want to be clear about that. So we
Hmm.
do give you all current events. We do give you updates and some news and things like that, but we are not full-fledged journalists. So like, we by no means, you know, are Pulitzer quality or anything like that. But what we
You
do is
don't
very
know.
important.
You don't know.
It's important is what I mean to say about it is that, we're just basically, we're a voice, we're a lens, and that's what we want to bring to you. So I just want to clarify that, not to, you know, to demean what we do, because I think it is very important. And I think that, as they were talking and saying that that panel, including ourselves, were making history, like, I felt so proud about that.
Me too. I mean, it was definitely a a a very eye-opening experience, and I felt very humbled by it. So
Absolutely.
So to that point, we are going to share some clips of last night, and I do hope you guys enjoy that. And we will see you on the other side.
And I do want to add, before Shahida goes into that, Big Sister organization can always use help. We are looking for donations. I'm part of the board of diversity there in Boston. We're looking for donations, whether it be your time, whether it be items that the littles and bigs can use. If you have questions, just shoot us a DM at Little State Big Voices, or you can go directly to at Big Sister Boston on Instagram.
All right. So we're going to play a couple of clips, and we do hope that you enjoy that. And again, we'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
And so I would say one of our biggest challenges, and which still continues to be some of our biggest challenges in the media space, in a lot of spaces, is white men, right, in our power structure. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the more that, we have these opportunities, we create these spaces that women won't have beef. We can have Woke Media Network, we can have The Banner, we can have all these other media entities, just like you have WBZ, you have Necken, you have NBC 10, and that's regular. The CNN doesn't say we're not going to exist because and SNBC exists or whatever. But in Boston, when it comes to black and brown things, there can only be one, right? And that doesn't matter if you're Asian, if you're black, if you're Latino, whatever it is. If you look across the diaspora of the media space in Massachusetts has gotten us used to just saying, oh, this exists over here, so the rest of y'all should be good. It doesn't matter if you speak Portuguese and you're Creole and you're French, you speak Haitian Creole. Oh, y'all both Cape Verdean, whatever, y'all Haitian, then you can, use this thing right here, and that's supposed to be it. And so that challenge, I think, comes from the power structures that are released here that are mainly led by old Boston, which is old white men.
I did want to say one thing. Liz Walker and Rahima Ellis walked so she could fly. If I think about my biggest obstacle, I would say definitely has to be myself. I don't think anybody has ever stopped me from doing anything that I wanted, but I would beat myself up first. Maybe it was like lack of confidence, or maybe too, being in Boston, if I already saw a space taken by an African-American woman or a woman of color, I'm like, there's not enough room for me. But also too, like I said, I married young, I had children young, and then when I came, I was a stay-at-home mom for 11 years. And so when I came out of that situation, my ex-husband was like, you are never going to have anything without me. Basically, and that played on me for a very long time when I was writing all the time, but keeping it to myself. And so when I started writing things that I wanted, they were political articles or, articles about my life growing up, Muslim and black and, being a woman in that space. When I started writing that, and when it was She Knows, it was a big blog back in the day. I'm not old, but anyway, it was a big blog. When they published it, it validated a lot of what I felt that I could do. But still, I had to keep going. So regardless of what else was out there, I knew that my biggest obstacle was myself and how I felt about myself and how I felt my voice didn't matter until I made it matter. So looking into the room and just saying, you know what, you get to that age, I'm here.
Hello.
Okay, so thinking about what I've heard and what has been an obstacle for me, there are two things. First one, procrastination. Big enemy of me. Used to be a big enemy of mine because I have great ideas. I'm not even gonna front on myself. Like, I'm a very creative person. I come up with I can give you the best advice if you come to me, but taking my own advice had been an issue. And then executing, because I would always be kind of plagued by, well, what if what I'm thinking of does not pan out? What if it fails? And I was always afraid to fail, which is why I would procrastinate. And I would think, someday I will do this, when this is right, when the timing is right, when my kids are older, when I change jobs, when I get a different car, all these things that I would put out there. I was moving the line for myself. And I had to realize, if you want the things that you want to make your life better, including starting your own podcast, you have to stop thinking about what could go wrong and realize that things will go wrong, and you just have to be prepared to face them. So in addition to procrastinating, denial was a really big problem for me. And when I say denial, is denial about a lot of things. When you grow up a person of color, you learn the denial game very early. You get into the classroom and you have to say, that microaggression that just happened to me, that didn't really happen. That's me blowing it out of proportion. That person spoke to me in a way that didn't feel comfortable to me, but they didn't mean it, and making excuses for other people. So I was in denial a lot. One of the big things I was in denial about is the condition of being BIPOC in America. Because I grew up thinking, because I went to Medco and I was around a lot of white kids, a lot of kids that were not black, and there were just a handful of us. I was thinking things are getting better. I go to this school that's predominantly white. I'm getting the same education, and these people are my friends, and racism is going away. I mean, come on now. I don't see color. We should be colorblind. That's what I was thinking when I was 17, 18 years old. And then you have these things that happen, more often than not, that kind of level set you. And like Shahida said, I'm getting older now. I've had more and more of those experiences where now things are undeniable. So now I have to confront them, and I had to assess how I saw myself in the world. Because I used to go out and say, well, I'm just Tracy. I am a black woman. I'm a Latina woman. I am a mother. I'm all these things, but I'm Tracy. I'm just me. But I'm also those things, and I have to bring those with me when I walk out the door every day.
So I think we can all collectively agree, based on what I've heard, that as women, we have to learn how to lift each other up and not look at each other as competition, which not just among women of color, but women in general, we tend not to understand the assignment men do. Mm-hmm. But knowing that, and we do have some men in the room too, so it was good for them to hear this. What role can men play in advocating for gender equality in the media industry and just in the different industries throughout our city? Because yes, we have to understand the assignment, but we have to have allies. You have to have men who are on board. So what role can they play? Maybe they wanted to play a role, but they don't know how to jump in.
All my life I have been told men with money.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I tried to get involved. And so that's one of the things that I see that they guys who are open and think well enough that they would like to support our entities, our projects, our programs, who will be able to stand with us and not say, oh, that's a woman thing. So I think that lots of men, when they see too many women together doing some conversation, they go, oh no, that's a women. Don't do that. Just come on in. Join us. Help us. Donate. Yes. That's for sure. Now, I really believe that a lot of men, we just got to say, that's going to help us. We need your money, but you also have some ideas that how you did things, and that perhaps we could see some benefits in that for us as well. So I never want to do something that would exclude men altogether. Mm-hmm. And so I think that whatever occupation or project that I'm involved in, I think is always.
When we're talking about BIPOC folks and black folks, how can our allies support? And it's always, for me, it's access and opportunity. So yes, money, funding, supporting, if you have the resources, and I think in the larger scheme of things is creating opportunities. If you're the person whether it's the race, if you're the sex that empowers or has more leadership roles, the most simplest thing that you can do is create space, have an all-female broadcast carrying a men's or commentating on a men's quote-unquote sport in a men's space. So you didn't need men to do it, and they did a damn good job across the board, right? So somebody had to create that. So I would say the access and opportunity.
I think it's very simple. Listen to black women.
Hey!
Yes. And I say that because we know for the last, 15, 20 years specifically, that had news anchors, had media, had the new journalists listen to what black women were saying about where we were going, the trajectory of this country, where it was going, we would be saved a whole lot of nonsense. Yeah. So just listen and implement what she tries to implement what she says.
Put it on a t-shirt.
That was a good one. I was thinking listen to. But it's also quite simple. Just trust us. Just trust us. I'm married to a man who, if I say just trust me, he backs down and he trusts me. That's it. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. You know who's steering the ship. Yeah. Trust me. That's it. And trust that my ideas are good. Trust that we're not going to tear anything down. Women are not going to tear anything down. We're not going to typically destroy something that's been built up, especially if it's something of quality. Just trust us.
Can I add one more thing? Only that when I say listen to Black women, I know I don't even know I do this, but I say that too because Black women lead with empathy. So when we do things, it's not just for us. We do it for collectively all groups. So we're not going to leave you behind. We want you to carry us with you as we carry you with us. So that's what I mean totally by listen to Black women. Yes. Wow, that was great. Again, we really had a great time. And if you missed this live event, we are planning other live events, especially throughout the summer. And I do have, before Tracy gets back, I do have one call of action. Tracy and I started this podcast because we wanted to talk to Rhode Islanders in all the different communities. We want you to tell us about what makes your community great, what makes it not so great, what you enjoy about living in the area that you live in. And so we need you guys to get in contact with us. We have our Instagram page. Tracy every week gives you all of our social media information in emails. Drop us an email, and we would like to actually have you on the podcast because we want to have more interactions and we want to be able to do more things like we did last night with the women with the conversations with women in media.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, it's easy to find us at Little State Big Voices on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Our email is littlestatebigvoices@gmail.com. Reach out to us because we want to come, I want to eat. So if you have a restaurant, if you have a clothing store, I want to shop. If you have an activity center, if you're doing rug tufting, reach out. We want to be there. We want to shine a light on small businesses because it's easy to be corporate and have a lot of funding behind you, but it's not as easy to find the things that are intentional and unique and different. And Providence and the rest of Rhode Island are so full of those types of businesses. Like we'd have content for days, basically.
So again, until the next time, we will see you on the other side. Enjoy your week.
And don't forget to vote.
Don't forget to vote. Please vote for us.
Number 16 on the ballot.
All right. Take care.
Until then.